to the Shades of Entrepreneurship, where we interview entrepreneurs to inspire the future entrepreneur. I'll be your host, Mr. Gabriel Flores. So grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. My next guest is a visionary founder of a pioneering telemedicine platform that has transformed access to healthcare across all 50 states. With a unique blend of medical expertise and entrepreneurial acumen, please welcome the CEO of CallOnDoc, TJ Oshun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shades of Entrepreneurship. This is your host, Mr. Gabriel Flores. Today, I'm here with TJ Oshun of CallOnDoc. TJ, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Good to hear. Good to see you. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I'm really interested because this is all about digital healthcare and entrepreneurship. So we're going to kind of get into that and kind of talk a little bit about what that means. But before we get into all that, TJ, why don't you give us a little background? Who is TJ?
Well, TJ is a Nigerian American. I relocated from Nigeria about over 20 years ago. You know, just like your typical immigrant, had to work my way up the ladder, took all the menial jobs out there in the minimum way to pay tuition, went to college, went to PA school. After that, went to medical school, started a medical practice, and slowly transitioned into businesses and exited some of the businesses. And here I am today, CEO and founder of CallOnDoc.
So yes, give us a little background first. So you mentioned you went to PA school. So you go to PA school, you get your health degree. You're going through it. You can create CallOnDoc. So first, before we kind of get into the transition, tell me a little bit. What is CallOnDoc? What does it do?
Sure. CallOnDoc is an online healthcare platform. I try to stay away from just telemedicine platform because we've transitioned away from that. It started out as a telemedicine platform, but we are now a holistic online healthcare platform that gives patient access to medical care. And not necessarily just consultation with a doctor. We offer a wide range of services, including laboratory services. We actually have our own at-home lab kits where we build a facility in Dallas, Texas, where we run in labs. We also partner with multiple pharmacies to offer discounted prescription drugs. We partner with imaging centers where we refer our patients for imaging services as well. We partner with multiple healthcare services so we can refer our patients out to specialists. As you know, seeing a specialist is, hard already. So we make it simplifying the process, right? We've also pivoted just from direct to patient or direct to consumer to a B2B now, where we're actually offering a service, software as a service to healthcare companies or businesses that just want to offer their employees healthcare access. So we're like a healthcare platform in a holistic fashion.
Nice. And I see how the difference or the intention of differentiating the telemedicine versus digital health. Because folks, if you do telemedicine, it truly is just kind of more of a consultation with a provider. You're kind of beaming in virtually. Maybe it's an urgent care or a primary care. Seldomly are you going to be able to do a really complex case of just because you do have to have hands-on touching. But I would say the one thing that you mentioned that was very interesting that really telehealth does not have is the at-home labs. Talk about how that kind of came to fruition and why that is so important.
Absolutely. Like I said, we started as a telemedicine company, but because we understand the importance of labs and our patient traditionally don't like to go to doctors. And as you know, doctors need labs to be able to diagnose and treat patients. So if you're a diabetic patient and you don't have lab, it's very hard to prescribe your medication or refill your prescription. So, and I'm like, hey, I have to solve this problem. How can I do it, right? So I invested in this, built a lab, and delivered at-home tests to our patients so they can facilitate the delivery of care. So that was how that came about, just a way of pivoting and offering better services to our patients and just meet them where they need us.
Can you tell us? So I think, I'm in the healthcare space. I've been in the healthcare space for over 20 years, over 2 decades now. Now, one of the things I would say historically hospitals and ambulatories are going through right now is access. Access to an actual provider. Can you tell us how telehealth and digital health has been really revolutionizing patient access?
And that's key, right? That's one of the fundamental things that we preach is access and affordability, to be able to access doctors anytime. With technology, you can do that now. With a tap on your phone, you can see a doctor in no minute. So with technology, you facilitate and remove all the red tapes that literally, inhibits access to a doctor. As you know, most people don't see a doctor. And let me take you back a little bit on how actually we started this. It started with a clinic I co-founded in Dallas, Texas in 2015, right? So we scaled the business. It was profitable, but we realized, we couldn't grow because of no shows and missed appointment, right? For obvious reasons. The reason why most people don't show up to the clinic is because of transportation costs, problem losing income, calling out of work. So obviously the way to solve that is to bring the care to them, right? That goes back to the same thing as access, right? So if you're able to remove all these red tapes and inhibitions that is stopping patients from accessing doctors, you can now provide access to them. A patient can wake up at 1 a.m. in the morning and see a doctor. Can you imagine that? 1 a.m. in the morning. We're available 24/7. Thanksgiving night, if your doctor's office is closed, you can get your prescription delivered to your pharmacy and pick it up within 15 minutes. Access.
Yeah, and that's really phenomenal and remarkable because again, folks, I tell you, you mentioned it, TJ. Healthcare from an operations perspective, 5% no call on an outpatient clinic is disastrous from an operational perspective and a finance perspective. You have to understand that's 1 in every 20 patients that are not coming into your clinic, right, to get seen. You have a lot of time gets put into being seen these patients. A lot of workup gets done, and there's just a lot of things that kind of go into the play. Now I want to kind of talk a little bit about this CallOnDoc. How does it work? Now, do the providers, are they employed by your team? Are they entrepreneurs? How does the CallOnDoc system work?
Absolutely. So one of the critical decisions I made earlier on in the inception of the company was to make sure all the doctors were W-2 and full-time. And the reason behind that, even though it's expensive, is to provide continuation of care. And also because I wanted to make sure we're available in all 50 states. So I didn't go the independent doctors route because it was going to be hard to manage. As you can imagine, there's no continuation of care. You don't see the same doctors over and over again. So we want to make sure our patients are following up with the same doctors. The doctors, we spend so much time training them, and we want to be able to retain them. So our doctors are all full-time. We have some independent doctors here and there, but our core doctors are all, 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. They're passionate and devoted. They also like the fact that they're able to work remotely from the comfort of their home. I see my team as, customers. So I make sure, I'm also investing in the doctors because I know a happy doctor, happy patient. I truly understand that. So all our doctors are full-time.
And how did
we
you
do, by the way, have not just doctors, we have nurse practitioners and physician assistants as well. We have farm techs that is helping with the prescription. We have medical assistant that's supporting the doctors. It's a whole team.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Now I'm really interested to know how you mentioned you kind of started out in Dallas, Texas as a, relatively financially steady private practice. And then you scaled into this to the point you now serve, all the United States, right? All patients within all of the states within the United States. Now, with that said, how the heck did you scale a company from being a private practice there in, Texas to being all over the world or all over the United States?
Luck. No, I'm joking. It's never luck. It's always hard.
It's
Hard.
always a bit of luck there, right?
It's passion, right? It's
Passion. There you go.
It's passion. I say this, you have to go for what you're passionate about, and just go in and obviously it has to, show some type of fruition and what I get is the reviews that I get from my patient have been able to change their lives, right? A patient that's out of a prescription medication and I'm able to come in and save them from going to the ER or, even dying from not getting their vital insulin medication. Those are the things that keeps me going, that wakes me up in the morning, and just help me drive. And I also have a team around me that's passionate about this. But as you said, it started like a clinic, as a small clinic in Dallas. I was able to build a website. So the first iteration of the website, I built it myself, and I slowly scaled. And the feedback from the patients was just driving the force. And I was a little bit lucky in the sense that I was one of the first players in telemedicine. So I was able to write the SOPs on how telemedicine is actually done today, right? The prescription refill, the protocols that everybody follows now is what I had to put in place. I called the medical board in Texas at that time. I'm like, if it was okay to do telemedicine, this is way before COVID. And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean telemedicine? I'm like, well,
Talking to me on the phone. What do you mean?
right. I'm like, I just need to call patients. Who are like, as long as you're documenting and establishing some type of medical necessity, you should be fine. I'm like, why don't you send that to me via email so I can have it documented? So there wasn't any protocol. There was any regulations or guidelines. So it was challenging, but as long as I knew I was doing the right thing and helping patients, I knew I was going to be fine. So that's how it started. And we just pivoted from the clinic and made it an online scalable platform.
One of the things you mentioned was passion. And I think with entrepreneurship, especially if you're the first mover in an industry like you mentioned in the telemedicine space, kind of being the first mover, passion really is going to help propel you through those moments of entrepreneurship that are difficult when you're kind of by yourself, you're kind of working through the grit. Now, have you ever had a moment when you're kind of, you mentioned you started the private practice and you went into this CallOnDoc. Did you ever have a moment when you were kind of transitioning from private practice to being an entrepreneur of self-doubt?
Self-doubt, that happens all the time. It's it happens all the time, from having issues getting credentialed for a state that you really want to go in, and you're having to have that roadblock, or having to transition from self-pay to insurance. All those obstacles are always there. But again, the passion will push you through and get you, because you have an angle and you know where you want to go. We've never raised capital. It's always been self-funded, bootstrapped, so it will be successful. And I want to make sure I set example also to people, minorities like me, that you don't necessarily have to have capital to be successful. If you're passionate and offer good service, you will be able to grow and scale the company, as long as you're helping people, solving a problem, and have the right intentions.
I completely agree. I think, getting out there and networking and building, a very valuable product, you really truly don't have to raise capital, because you're going to have a market that's willing to purchase your items at a very quick time. Now, how did you scale the business without taking on capital? You mentioned bootstrap. How did you kind of start that first iteration, and how did you kind of get to the point where you now scaled it, all across the United States?
So that's the advantage of a first mover, right? You tend to grab a lot of market share and build a momentum around you. One of the things I invested in is good customer service and user-friendly technology. I made a decision early on not to adopt one of the legacy HR system, and invested capital in actually building a platform I can customize and personalize, because I know at some point I'll be able to, modify and change and be dynamic. So I didn't buy a telemedicine engine or EHR platform that had telemedicine. I had to build it from scratch. It was painful, but that helped me build the infrastructure. But again, customer service. So because of the customer service that we have tons of positive reviews. We're one of the highest telemedicine rated company in the US. We have over 400,000 five-star reviews. I'm not counting the four stars or the 3 stars, almost half a million 5-star reviews. That is leverage, right? That is leverage, right? And because of COVID, because of the reputation and infrastructure we had, we were able to scale from a couple of states during COVID, and we're able to scale to all 50 states overnight.
That is quite impressive. And it's just really interesting because I think there's this kind of misconception that in order for folks to scale, they kind of have to take on venture funding or they have to do more. I think there's also the misconception that listen, folks, if you have a business going out there and you're not, if it's operating in the red and it has been for several years, putting more money into it might not necessarily be the solution. You might want to look at, your spending habits. You might want to look at the operational workflow. There's a lot of other things that can go into that that you may not have noticed. Even scaling too quickly can have financial detriments because you're essentially, if you're sitting on too much product that you're unable to move because you thought you were able to scale at a pace that you're not able to keep up with because you don't have the employees, you don't have the shipping and all these other things, and now things are expiring. I mean, it's very important to really understand of what you're going to scale, how you're going to scale it, but then also like building the network. Building out the network, building out the team. How did you build out your network? How did you get people involved into your Call on the Doc program?
Well, so because I had a medical clinic, so I had that foundation of bringing my team on board. So I have family that's also in the medical space. So they were the first ones I employed, and they worked overtime in scaling this. So I was in a way fortunate there. But I started bringing colleagues and friends on board as well because they saw the vision and the comfort in this. And that's how we slowly scaled the company. And it was a slow process. It wasn't overnight. It was calibrated and strategic. So we were always following our marketing dollar. Okay, we made projections and hire doctors accordingly to where we're able to do that. But as you can imagine, the process of being able to remove myself as a CEO of a company and just having a CEO run the company, it's also painstaking. But again, building a team is a science on its own, right? But yeah, that's how we're able to do it. Just a strategic, slow process.
Now, tell me, I'm interested to know what would from private practice over to becoming an entrepreneur, what would you say was kind of the most difficult piece about that transition? Or maybe something that you didn't really think about in the private practice world that you had to do as an entrepreneur that you're like, wow, didn't know about that?
Well, I think what comes to mind is, what I've been able to do, learn to remove myself from the company. And that's how you can actually scale. You have to remove yourself from the company. I read a book that actually changed everything and put everything in perspective. It's called The Lazy CEO, right? You have to be the lazy CEO. When there's a problem, you go in, solve the problem, train your team, and exit quickly. So your team can actually be empowered, and you have to be able to trust them. Another thing that's really, really important, most founders and CEO is they expect their team to perform at the same level. Well, what the book taught me is if you can get 80% out of them, you're fine. So I just wanted the 80%. I trained my team, delegated, empowered them, and made sure they were giving 80%. That was sufficient. And you can now, dedicate your time to doing other things. So nuances like that, reading books, empowering yourself, educating yourself, always help. There are a lot of smart people out there. Read their books and just get from their ideas and scale from there, right? I didn't go to business school, but I was able to read a lot of books.
Yeah, folks, I got to tell you, I think we are in like the golden era of education and information where you truly do have an opportunity to absorb so much free information, either from your phone or a library that's free, a podcast like we're doing now. And it's all free education and it's all out there because there are difficult times when you're just not going to want to continue to move forward and you're trying to figure things out and that passion is going to come through. And then but there's also things that you're kind of trying to like, you know what, I'm passionate about, but I just don't know enough about it, and go out there and learn it, get out there and really truly understand it and try to figure it out, try to see what you can do. Because again, there are a lot of solutions out there to problems that people have not found yet. And that's, I think, the best part about entrepreneurship is identifying a solution to a problem that people have. And then people actually willing to, take you up on that opportunity to learn more about it. Now, what process, one of the things you talked about was, and I think this is something entrepreneurs struggle with a lot, like truly, is being able to offload some of those tasks, right? Being able to not have to feel that they have to be the jack of all trade, master of none. What tactics did you employ for your current organization to empower your employees to feel when these issues arise, they now have kind of a process to follow?
Right. It starts with actually hiring the right person. And you may not hire the right person initially, right? It may be a trial and error process because you never know. They may be excellent in the resume, but hands-on, they may be poor performers. But once you identify a golden employee, invest in them, train them, treat them like the queen, and just pay them well, right, and empower them, right. They will deliver. Some of the employees you wouldn't imagine they actually want to take up that role, and when you see the signs or the signal in those team members, just empower them and give them all the resources and just trust them. There will be times where they fall short, right? Pick them up, guide them, support them, and just trust them. And they will learn, as I learned. I give them examples of when I had to face certain obstacles and when I had to pull through. That kind of motivates them as well. But it's about building your team and slowly, right? Obviously, and scale from that, right? And once you understand the fact that you have to build a team, when you hire, you start looking at it from that perspective. Is this someone that can actually work independently, right, and not necessarily depend on me to make decisions for them, right? Right. So that's how you tend to do it in terms of building a team and just trusting your team to be able to deliver.
Yeah, and I imagine your business is interesting because it seems like you kind of have a couple different target audiences. I would imagine like one might be the payers, right? The insurance people of the world. Another one might be other providers that might be referring to your system. And the other ones are patients, right? The patient. How do you market to all these different, marketing segments?
Absolutely. So I'm the king of focus. I stay focused on the core business, which is D2C, right? I stay focused on that. But then I have a team leads in all the other departments that actually manage that. So we have a B2B department where there's a team that sort of CEO in that department also that manages that. But my core focus is in the D2C. I try to make sure, I stay true to that because that's the bread and butter. But it's all about building a team and a department that will run itself, right? And you just come in and sort of be more of a strategic partner versus in the operations of things.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. Is the operations of each one of those kind of targeting each one of those markets is very different as well. That's what I love about entrepreneurship is it kind of really depends on who you're targeting, and then you have to understand what do they actually like, and then where are they actually absorbing this information? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they at concerts? Are they at farmers markets? Like, where do they primarily reside? And that kind of goes back into that understanding your customer profile, and really doing it. Now, is your team primarily just focus on general health, or do you provide other specialty services?
So we don't we just provide general health, direct to patient general health, but we're partnering with multiple specialists now where, if you came in for a psychiatric condition, we'll refer you to one of our partners. So, but our core is primary care / urgent care services. Well, again, like I said, we have multiple partnerships so we can offer more verticals.
Nice. Now, TJ, what does the next 5-10 years look like for CallOnDoc? Where do you envision the future for CallOnDoc?
So what I tend to do is actually facilitate the growth of telemedicine, or digital healthcare as a whole. How can I support oncoming businesses that want to venture into digital health? By providing to the technology, right? By providing the white label at-home test kits, if you want to offer it to you, is really empowering a lot of companies. So like I said, we're slowly moving from the D2C to B2B and just sort of power digital online companies out there. And also leveraging AI to optimize patient care. There are multiple ways you can actually empower patient through information, right? And AI, as you can imagine, can do that for you. So we invest in a lot of our capital in optimizing AI, where when you come into our platform, you can have an avatar doctor, not a real life doctor, help you formulate a treatment plan and make recommendations for you before you actually see the doctor. And it will tell you when you need to see a doctor, when you need to go to the ER, or if you need some lab tests. So those processes will be automated. Obviously, that we still have to get some type of licenses for that. But those are the technologies that we're working. So that way, when we have the next COVID, we'll be ready, and technology will be able to come in, and patient will still remain to have access to medical care.
That's a great point. I think we're seeing the implementation of artificial intelligence within the healthcare space a little bit more and more. Where do you see AI kind of continuing to evolve healthcare? And do you see there are other entrepreneurial endeavors that you might encourage folks to kind of explore in the AI space when it comes to healthcare?
Well, the challenge that the healthcare faces is the last to adopt technology. Which sort of makes it hard to partner or find anything in the open space or open source to embed in your system, and primarily because of the regulations and red tapes again. So it makes it very hard to innovate. There are a lot of innovations or ideas that we can implement, but we've not been able to get approval for that. But there's tons of opportunity for now. All we can offer is information, being able to leverage patients' data to provide, optimized care for them, right? If a patient had diabetes, we can now predict the outcome with the medication and make recommendations based on information. So those are the limitations that we have now. There are tons of opportunity, but there's so much restrictions and regulations that's preventing the opportunities that we can actually see.
Yeah, that's a great point, TJ. I got to tell you, folks, it's really interesting. Healthcare, you kind of assume is like cutting edge, forward, first on the market, and we're not. When I first started in healthcare, our electronic medical record was A2K. It was a black screen with green lettering, like the old Macintosh kind of computers. That was our electronic medical record. We didn't actually change over to Epic until like 2001, I think it was, or 2008. I can't remember exact date. But yeah, I mean, we still use the A2K model for a long time. And to TJ's point, there's a lot of red tape, a lot of kind of things you're going to have to go through. And I think that's the same thing with FDA approval. You go through clinical trials for medications or different procedures. there's just a lot of red tape. And I think too, to that point, TJ, there's still a lot of fascinating growth to be had within the healthcare space. I truly believe that if you look at cancer and the evolution of immunotherapy in the last 5 years, it has been absolutely remarkable. If you look at, in fact, I just recently interviewed the diabetes app. What is it called? I think it was Verda, and that's phenomenal, right? What they're able to do and how they're able to continue to really break down the diabetes world and actually help cure type 2 diabetes through nutrition, right? Which is kind of how diabetes really starts, a lot of it, except type 1, unfortunately, but still, it's really cool what's happening in the healthcare space. And if I'm selfishly encouraging people listening right now to look at the healthcare space as business opportunities to innovate. I think the healthcare space is starving for innovation. I think there's a lot of innovation to be had, and it doesn't necessarily need to be on the patient care side. TJ was mentioning he had to create his own electronic medical healthcare record system because the current ones right now, I mean, Epic is the kind of creme de la creme, right? It's an 80 or 60% market share. However, it still isn't the best. It's still very difficult. It's like an onion. You can custom Epic any way you want. It has different layers, and the more layers you pull, it's like an onion, the more you cry because it's just like, oh my God, why can't you make this simple? I have a beacon for oncology. I have the PAC system for imaging, and then it's like they're all over the place. And so it's if you have folks, if you have an idea in the healthcare space, I would highly encourage you to get out there and innovate and try to work in that space. I think healthcare is starving for innovation.
Absolutely right. It's so many opportunities, untapped opportunities, ways you can help patients' outcomes. Please, explore this opportunity. Yes, you're welcome. It's such an opportunity and a golden opportunity for everyone to step in. Yep.
Yep. Now, folks, so TJ, if there's folks listening that are interested in connecting with you or maybe learning more about CallOnDoc, how can they connect with you online? How can they find you on the website?
Absolutely. So the website is CallOnDoc.com. We on Facebook. We're active on Facebook and all the other social media. You can watch our YouTube videos. But you can always reach us on our website, and our team available to assist you. We have an app that you can download anytime. We're available 24/7. If you need a medical service, you can just download the app now. Any consultation through the app gets $5 off because we encourage patients actually using the app because it's user friendly, more secured, and there's so many benefits there. So I'll say go ahead and download the app now. You may not need our service right away, but whenever you do, 1 a.m. we're there, 2 a.m. we're there, on holidays when you need a prescription refills, we're there for your basic primary care needs.
I tell my buddy in my group text this all the time because I work in healthcare, and I'll be, working 2 a.m. sometimes. I'm like, folks, healthcare doesn't sleep. It's the one industry, no matter what, we don't sleep. We're constantly, there's somebody constantly at the hospital or clinic or somewhere. It's remarkable. TJ, thank you again so much. And folks, if you want to connect with TJ, if you want some more information, go ahead and visit the shadesofe.com and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll have TJ's information on the newsletter. We'll also have a dedicated blog post and a dedicated page with TJ's website, photo, and a transcription of our conversation and an audio. So if you would like to actually stream this conversation, you have that as well. TJ, are there any last words you'd like to say to the folks listening?
Yeah, this was a fun experience. I really enjoyed it. I always empower my patients. I always leave them with preventative medicine, diet, exercise, and live a healthy life. Preventive medicine is the way to go. Patients over 25-year-olds should be checking their blood pressure regularly. It's one of the silent killers. You can check your blood pressure at any pharmacy these days. Anything over 135, 140, see a doctor immediately. You can also do your annual check. They're available online now. You can buy your kit anywhere if you can't make it to a doctor. They're mostly affordable now. Checking your kidney, liver once a year, it's an important step you can do to prevent any chronic diseases, right? And just live a long life, right?
Yeah, folks. Again, listen, I check my, like I got a heart monitor. I check my blood pressure. I do that on a pretty consistent basis. You can purchase one of these little guys at Target for like $10, $15. It's just, again, I use it before some of my doctor appointments, just if it is telehealth, so they have that information. Also, like TJ mentioned, it's just good to monitor it. Good to continuously, monitor your own health. I think statistically by like 2030, we're supposed to, or 2050, I think we're supposed to be living on average to about 90 to 100 years old. So, and I think that is a testament to the kind of innovation that we've been having within the healthcare space and the quality of life, and that we're able to see is continuing to rise. TJ, again, thank you so much for this conversation. Really, again, I'm really impressed that you guys are on all 50 states. Very awesome. And again, folks, if you forget all of TJ's information, you can subscribe to the Shades of Entrepreneurship newsletter by visiting theshadesofE.com. You can also follow us on the social sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Sorry, I'm no longer on Twitter, TikTok, but all the other ones, just go ahead and at the Shades of E. And if you so choose so, if you actually enjoyed all these conversations, you can become a Patreon member for $5 a month and actually help support the show so we can continue to bring on guests like TJ. So again, TJ, thank you again so much for your time. So folks listening at home, thank you and have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shades of Entrepreneurship. For more information, please follow the Shades of E on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or visit theshadesofE.com.